Are you able to perform now? I mean, considering that travel is limited, how are you? I mean, what do the entertainers do if you can't travel? What are the options that you have?
You know, it's so crazy because I personally have laid low for this whole experience. You know, I
Hmm.
have my family that I got to protect and take care of. You know the specifics of that. So this whole situation kind of made you reprioritize and recenter your life. Um, and what seemed more important last year just completely changed this year. At some point, it just kind of felt like, especially more for us in the U.S. last year, it was kind of like breathing, and having food, and getting through the day was kind of the priority versus anything else. Um, Ironically, I mean, for a lot of other people, like you that you follow or this, that, and the other, you see, and you're just like, has this even affected them? Because you still see them traveling and performing and this and that. I'm just like, wow. But again, it's like, and I'm like, sometimes there was moments where I was like, maybe I should try that.
Hmm.
They'll wear shields, or they'll weather, they'll do whatever they got to do, or sometimes they put them on screens and the people are in their cars far away. Like there's been different things that I've seen,
Hmm.
um, or they've kind of um, moved forward with the pandemic and kind of tried to find some sort of common ground with it. But again, with my situation, I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna risk it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's people who've moved on. Obviously there was a downtime where nobody could do anything.
Right.
Um, a lot of people did virtual stuff. So a lot of friends or colleagues that I have in the industry, or especially in the gay community, they did virtual shows. They would have to do streaming from their house and hope for some tips, to get through that hardship.
Hmm.
But for me specifically, yeah, music has really really been. It was already kind of on a pause just because of some of the transitions in my life, but with that, it really really took a huge pause, which is understandable, but it's definitely been a void that's missing. It's a part of me
Hmm.
that's been calling, like, you need to get back out there and do some stuff.
Right. Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I was definitely curious, what people were doing. Is there even the technology to make the experience as good or at least close to it, right? Because I know I've looked at or I've seen some applications like SoundCloud, for example, where people are starting to collaborate, like sharing musics, whether it's
Mhm.
instruments or voice, where they mix it all virtually, and then you just collaborate and share. So I don't know if those are some things that
Very cool. I didn't know
you
that.
check out, and that's I think
Very
from
cool.
Spotify. Right? So
Mm.
Spotify is actually it's like a part of their application or product that they're offering. So I would check
Mm.
that out. Maybe
Yeah.
you can still do virtual because I know there are buyers out there that've been trying to get together, and obviously people tried Zoom. It wasn't necessarily in early onset. It was
Yeah.
a challenge, but they did add the sound option where you can kind of make the sound better, right? But still,
Mm.
when you're collaborating in chorus or singing solos or whatnot, quality of the sound matters, right? Whether
Yeah.
your mic's coming out, is that something they can even download? Can they even, pay for it? Because like you said, you got to make money for this. It's not like
Yeah.
something you can do for free forever.
Yeah.
Maybe promos, but still.
Yeah.
What are some of the misconceptions that you would like to clarify or dispel for those listening to your story? Do you have anything that you'd like to point out?
I think in my situation, I think sometimes there can be a perception of me, that I might be unapproachable, maybe. Um, like sometimes people think I'm a little too guarded on my social. Um, and I'm trying to let loose a little bit, over time. It's hard because I remember, I'm coming from the '90s where social media didn't really exist, and I still sometimes have this um, unrealistic old school view on how this should all happen. Like, oh, there should be CDs in the record store, and oh, there should be this. Like, I'm just still, even though it's been a while that things have been like this, I still kind of feel like, can we go back to the way things used to be? But I know that we can't. It's the digital area, digital era, it's social media, and this is the reality that is. But a lot of my idols, they didn't have the things that we have now as far as their experience. So it's been an adjustment. But I know that some people do have that perception when they're like, I may not seem necessarily approachable because I'm not a little more loose, or they may think I'm a little snobby about it, or whatever. But it's not any of that. Like, who I portray to be or who I am, like when I speak or post my videos or whatever, it's genuine. They can always hit me up or DM me. I always answer. I always answer. I think one of the rudest things, especially when you're not necessarily this huge star, I think one of the rudest things, and I was just talking to my friend about this, is when they read your messages and leave you unread. I think that is so rude. Like I was DMing somebody that I really like musically, and I've met this person, and just like three messages back to back of me trying to support this person, and just like left unread. I'm like, it's just rude, humble yourself, and you have to interact with people. So it's one thing that I may not necessarily open up a lot, about my personal stuff, but if you message me or contact me, I will always respond and interact. And I think that's one of the things that we've had to become familiar with. Like you have to interact with people. It's just kind of part of how things are now, and it's a good thing because you can clarify things that are misunderstood about yourself, or give people firsthand information that they need to know versus finding it out somewhere else. And it's also humbling too. Like you get to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody who enjoyed one of your songs, or enjoyed an experience that you shared. So perception isn't always everything. Like
Hmm.
sometimes you have to give a person a chance. I think that's the only thing that sometimes people maybe take me too serious, but I am a little crazy. I'm a little crazy. I don't think even you've experienced that side of me. Maybe a little bit, because you're fun too. You know, so sometimes when we're together, I let you just kind of be fun, and I just kind of enjoy that
That's
because
cool. Well,
you
we
can be
gotta be
fun.
crazy to do what we do, right? I mean, I think we all have a different level of craziness. It's just
Yeah,
passion and I think interest. So that's cool.
yeah,
And I'm glad you clarified that because some people think that you're all just what you see. There's more
hmm
to us. There's a lot more
hmm
layers to our complexity.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the other piece, right on that topic. What motivated you to share your experience with me when I asked you?
Um, well, first of all, just I was excited just to be part of your program because I'm a fan. You know, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this lady here, I mean, she's just a force of nature is what I call you, a force of nature. Like going on 4 or 5 hours of sleep and then have like 10 projects and she can still do it with a smile and like nothing happened. And I'm just like, I can't even handle one project. So obviously, reason one was just, I was excited to be part of this. Also, again, just to, if I can, once we share these, or, once people start viewing it, if I can motivate one person, help one person, even if it's myself, just hearing it back, it's definitely something worth doing, definitely. And I think it's important, and I definitely need to get back to myself, especially musically. It's um, something that's been missing in my life for a while. It's like my baby. It's like my passion. And I said it in some video testimonials that I posted earlier this year. I was like, even if it's just to record a song here or there, or just to do some random thing to share with the public, like just do something, because it's
Mhm.
part of who you are, and it's missing. And sometimes people will message me and they're like, "What's going on? I haven't heard anything in a while." So it's
Yeah.
it's important to get back to that. So
Well,
hopefully
I'm
this is
definitely
hopefully this
happy.
is that first step back into that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have more to get you going for sure. We can do more of this to at least get everybody more familiar of your albums, especially your story and your experience. I think more people need to hear it so that they could support you and anyone is
Yeah,
interested, right, in being in
yeah,
the field that you're in. So,
of course.
what can we do better to help improve people's lives who share your experience?
Um, Support, definitely a lot of more support. No judgment, especially in our community. We've come a long way, but at the same time, you do see those people that do come in, those trolls, and those naysayers and people that gotta chime in and say what they gotta say. Um, we all have a story. There's a story as to how we came to where we are and why we are the way we are. I think one thing that Oprah said one time that I recently saw, she said a lot of times we're always like, "What's wrong with that person?"
Hmm.
And in reality, it should be like, what happened to that person? You can't always just, again, go by your perception of that person or what you think is right or wrong just based on your experience. You have to try to understand a person, and we all are the way that we are for a reason. And in our community, in the gay community, I think that it's really important to be more accepting and try to understand and empathize and listen less, judge less, listen more, judge less. Um, and I think those are very big key factors. I also think, as a generalization, not limited to the LGBTQ plus community, as a generalization for music in general, the arts in general, I think that as a public um, we need to be more giving. There's so much entertainment that's free to us now that I think that we need to support the arts more. Um, we give it for free a lot, so I think we can at least like or share, comment. Many times, you'll get those messages from people who say, "I liked it," but then they won't share it,
Hmm.
or "Where can I get it to download it?" But they don't say nothing. Like, it's got to kind of be a give and take. Like, we've come a long way, and it's been something that has benefited, humans in general, where you can just go, "I like the song," click download, and it's on your phone or whatever. But let's also support that, because
Yeah.
artists and entertainment, they still need to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So I think those are the key things that I would want for others to kind of take, and help others moving forward. Just listen, understand people more, and definitely support. Show more support, not just verbally, but also with the art itself, because I'm not going to say it's a dying art, but the quality and the passion, the drive, sometimes it gets lost in numbers, like your followers, or um, just chasing that, like I like to say, clout. Like, it just sometimes it just doesn't seem about the passion of the music or the passion of the art anymore. You
Hmm.
know, it's hard. It's hard to remember how things kind of used to be and then how they are, but you have to adapt. You really do.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's the other piece that I'm definitely, in conversation, right? Supporting artists and paying, not just getting it for free or sharing it for free. We do need
Hmm.
to be respectful of the trademark, the copyright, understand it. I think that's another thing that I don't know too many people actually talk about, especially as
Hmm.
entertainers or really anyone starting their own business, is
Yeah.
understanding that having your trademark, your brand, right? Promoting people, how to even do that, learning how to share your capabilities, the services you do, especially in the arts, because arts is a creative thing. And also, it's a mood, right? It's a sentimental thing. It's not
Yeah.
something you can just, unless you're doing regularly as a professional, that's your profession every day. It takes inspiration. It takes experiences that you're expressing in music. So anyone watching or listening, please support Brian Diaz and anyone that's in this field and an artist, and
Yes.
appreciate that. And
Mm.
hopefully you learn quite a few lessons in here. I don't think it's even matters that it's about entertain. It's really anyone. It's people's identities and accepting
Yeah.
people as themselves. So
Yeah.
I am very honored and excited. I'm happy that Brian was able to join me here, and I cannot wait to get the audio podcast shared out there. It's already live, so you should see this in my Facebook page, Vitamae Podcast. I'll also have it available on LinkedIn, on YouTube, so look out for that. And I know Brian will share it on Instagram and all the different social media. So
Oh
we'll
yeah.
spread this
Yeah.
around. If you know of anyone that should get, exposure as well and just visibility, I'd love to get the community going, making sure that
Nice.
they're supporting everyone else in
Nice.
this, especially us. I love music. I wasn't in the probably need to go and try out SoundCloud just to test and experiment, see how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll check that
You
out.
have a great voice too. You have a great voice. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything she can do. Can you act too? I mean, do you act as well? I'm just saying.
Well, I'm a little too honest with my face. My clients even tell me, it's like, May, what's with that face? Well, you told me something that I know I cannot deliver, so I'm making the face.
You're so crazy.
Yeah, we got to be. So looking forward to the next show. We'll
Yes,
have Brian. So we'll make you a regular. How about it? We'll have like a series
that
of
sounds good to
different
me.
talking on different topics. So might have him
That
as a
sounds good to me.
co-host here. So
Hey,
let's get this going, Brian. All right. Well,
thank you
have
so
a
much for having
wonderful.
me. You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Awesome.